boys and girls, it's Mrs. Larsen, ready to tell you another story. I hope you're ready to listen. Need my glasses for this one. All right, this is a story of Joshua. I'm sure you've heard of Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. Well, this is the story of that. It's taken from the Bible, and it's told by a little girl named Alice. It's kind of neat. It's the series of Alice in Bibleland, where she goes to the different scenes in the Bible, the different stories from the Bible, and she watches and tells us what's going on, which is pretty cool. The story of Joshua. A little girl named Alice had some favorite things to do. She liked to read, to sing, to dance, and play on her kazoo. One day she took a storybook and read a Bible story about a man named Joshua and how God gave him glory. As Alice read, the airmail bird circled overhead. He dropped a note right by her feet. And this is what it said. Reading is the magic key to take you where you want to be. The Bible storybook she read became a giant screen. Alice walked through it to Bibleland and came upon this scene. So you can see here, there's that male bird right there. And then over here, her book turns into a mirror. She saw a man named Joshua. God said to him one day, "The promised land is very near, and you will lead the way." Joshua told the Israelites, "God gave me a command. I'm to lead you forward to Canaan, your promised land." So here's Joshua, and he's praying right here. He's talking to God. And over here, he's telling the Israelite people what God said. I'm sure that God will help us, and when 3 days have passed, we'll cross the Jordan River and we'll be home at last. They were wandering through the desert for 40 years looking for that promised land, and Joshua's going to get to take them to it. But on the Jordan's other side was a wall both tall and wide, with a well-protected city called Jericho inside. So here is Joshua, and he's still talking to the Israelite people about crossing over the Jordan River. And then over here, Alice is over here. She sees that there is a huge wall around this city on the other side of the Jordan. Let's see what happens. You know, Alice is not really there. This is just a fun story about Alice watching the things from old days when the Bible stories happened. 2 spies were picked by Joshua to go that very night to find out if the Canaanites were ready for a fight. They crossed the Jordan River. They climbed to Jericho. The spies looked for a hiding place, but found no place to go. So Joshua picked these spies to go. So here are the spies that he's picked to go to check out what's happening in Jericho. And then here they are. They've crossed the river, and now they're climbing up there to find out what it will be like when the Israelites go over. The mighty king of Jericho had heard that spies were there. He sent his well-trained soldiers who went searching everywhere. The soldiers went from house to house to find the spies that night. But a brave woman named Rahab hid them out of sight. So here is the king of Jericho. He's over here, and he's telling his soldiers, go, find those spies. Find the Israelite spies. But this is Rahab. And as you can see up on her rooftop, she's hidden those spies. Do you see that? She's hidden those spies on that rooftop. Are the soldiers going to find the spies? What do you think? Rahab told the Israelites, I know that you're our foe, but God will give you victory when you take Jericho. So Rahab knew that God was with the Israelites. The soldiers are frightened and know they'll lose the fight. We know God protects your people with his power and his might. So the people of Jericho were afraid of the Israelites because they knew God was on their side and they knew that God was protecting them. And so Rahab is going to take care of those soldiers and protect them because she knows that God is protecting and God is with the Israelites. And when you conquer Jericho, remember, I hid you. Promise that you'll save my life and all my family too. Rahab helped the spies escape. When Joshua heard their tale, he knew they'd conquer Jericho. God would not let them fail. Whenever we do things that God wants us to do and when God's with us, we never fail because God never fails. She's talking to the spies and she's asking them to remember her when they come in and take over the city. And look at that. She's lowering them out of her window so that the soldiers don't find them. And then you can see, I keep forgetting to show you Alice on the little pages here. See Alice there? She's watching what's going on. Wouldn't that be fun to go back to those times and see all these wonderful things that happen that the Bible tells us about? I think it would be awesome. When Joshua told his people, tomorrow right at dawn, we'll cross the Jordan River and then we'll travel on. Early in the morning, as the sun rose in the sky, the Israelite priests led the way with the golden ark held high. So there is Joshua telling his people about crossing the Jordan at dawn, and here's the ark of God held high, the golden ark that holds precious things from God. And the priests are going to hold that ark high as they cross the river. And wait till you see how they cross the river. You're going to love it. The 10 Commandments were inside the golden box that day. The ark that I just told you about, the 10 Commandments are in there. When the priest walked in the river, the waters rolled away. They rolled away. The waters. God just pushed the waters away so that they could get through on dry land. The Israelites followed across the riverbed. They were on their way to Canaan and to Jericho ahead. So here they are. There's the ark carrying the 10 Commandments of God right there, and the priests are holding it. And then over here, look at them all. They're crossing through the river. God dried up the river. He held it back on both sides. As you can see, both sides of the river are held back so that the Israelites can cross over. As they approached the giant wall, the entrance to their land, Joshua saw an angel with a sword in his hand. I'm the captain of God's army. I'm under his command. Listen, and God will tell you how to win the promised land. Look at that. Look at that angel. Would that be the coolest thing to see, an angel? There he is. There's the angel. And there's Joshua down on his knees. That would be so awesome. And he's got a message from God. Later, Joshua gathered every woman, every man, every single Israelite, and told them of God's plan. The walls surrounding Jericho were tall and strong and wide. It would take a miracle for them to get inside. So see right there, they're standing in front of Jericho and those huge, strong walls. And over here, Joshua and the Israelites are talking about needing a miracle. Do you think they're going to get that miracle? Let's see. Horns loudly blew. They marched around the walls day after day, and God was with the Israelites to help in every way. On the seventh day, said Joshua, today's the day we win. Shout and play your trumpets. Raise a mighty din. So they're going around. They're going around and they're blowing that horn when they go around the wall, and they go around that wall for 7 days. Then on the seventh day is the day they're going to win. Let's find out how they win this. They marched around for 7 times. There came a thunderous sound. The mighty walls of Jericho came crashing to the ground. The Israelites rushed into the city. They quickly won the fight. Then Joshua remembered a promise made one night. What was that promise? Do you remember? Do you remember who helped the spies? Remember that promise? So here are the walls. They're all broken down. And the Israelites are running in to take over the city. God broke those walls down. All they did was march around the city. They marched around the walls. It was God. God broke down those walls for them. He saved Rahab and her family. You were right. It was Rahab who helped the spies. Then they joined the band. And just as God had told them, they had their promised land. After 40 years, walking around the desert in the wilderness, camping here and there, they finally came to the land God promised them. The time had come for Alice to leave the Bible scene. She walked away from Bibleland and came back through her screen. So here they are. They brought Rahab to safety. And then over here, that's Alice going back after she heard this amazing, or after she was there for the amazing, amazing thing, the miracle from God. Alice thought, I learned a lot today in Bibleland. God gave Joshua the faith to take a mighty stand. He had so much faith. He had so much faith. He had his people walk around that city with no plans for how they were going to break the walls down. But he knew that God said he would rescue them and he would make them victorious. And he did. He did by breaking down the walls so that the Israelites could get into that city. And God, with each one of us who follows in his way, he'll guide us and he'll lead us and he'll bless us day by day. God blesses us. He watches over us. He wants us to believe. He wants us to believe that he will take care of us. And that's faith. That's faith, knowing that God is here with us always and that he loves us more than we could ever imagine. He loves us, you and me. He loves us all. And remember, you are loved. Bye, boys and girls. I hope you enjoyed this story.